Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Figma RYUKO MATOI figure. And if you're interested in the packaging, since most import collectors are, this is what the packaging looks like. It's a nice red with black contrast at the bottom. It's number 220, and you can see the name MATOI RYUKO from Kill La Kill. And here's the interesting thing about the packaging, other than it's a nice looking packaging, which Figmas always have. This sticker may not be there. You might see a do not sell outside of Japan type of little white square sticker. That's probably okay. And if you see that other sticker right there, it's either over that or in place of that. You will probably see another distributor sticker on the back here. It covers about that much. That doesn't mean it's a bootleg. That's an official distributor more than likely. I can't remember which one it is, Toy Tokyo or something like that. If you see those, don't worry about it. It's okay. I'll probably be able to post a photo of it. I'll try to do that. If not, just listen to what I said. It doesn't make it a bootleg. It just means it was made for distribution outside of Japan. The Japanese ones will have this. Doesn't change the validity of the figure. Just wanted to point that out. At least as of right now, I don't believe there is a bootleg of this figure. So here it is. This character's from Kill La Kill, and as you might guess based on the design, this show is a little bit crazy, zany, I don't know what word you want to use, out there, extreme, but it's supposed to be, it's almost like a satire of anime, and this character is a perfect likeness to the character in the show. I do recommend you watch it if you are not a young person, because there are some suggestive things said, and it's not really like a sexy show. It's just looks like it is, so it's not really that bad, but still, for little guys, you probably shouldn't be watching it. Anyway, let's talk about the figure, not the show. You guys don't care about that. 5 3/4 inches tall, which puts her at about just shy of 15 centimeters, so pretty good size to her. And like I said, really nice likeness and really nice shelf appeal. Just the composition of the character and of the figure, it looks really good. She comes with some accessories, not a whole bunch, but let's look at those. Of course, we get our Figma Ziploc so that we can keep our accessories in there. We get our display stage with the 3 hinges and the additional piece up here. We have our tree of hands. Of course, we have the 2 fist hands that come on the figure. But then we also get the 2 style hands or martial arts hands, sword holding hands, more sword holding hands, and then open style pose hands. And you can see they're just really well done with the little red knuckles. Nice detail, red palms, very cool looking. They didn't put the red on these hands just because you don't need them, since she's going to be holding the sword with those. It's no big deal. Then we have 3 different faces. We have the smiling face, which in this look for her, not that common. You're most likely going to use one of these, and you can see these in use in the photos at the end of the video. So we have the wincing face with kind of some blush on her cheeks to make it look like she's got red cheeks because she's in pain. And then we also get the yelling face, which is probably the one I would display it with. Very well done. You can see the details in the eyes. There's like shading and everything you would want. Looks really good. Then we also have the scissor blade. I do kind of feel like the scissor blade plastic doesn't look that good, and it's not painted at all, so it's just, it feels a little bit cheap. It's not horrible and it'll be fine, but I think they could have maybe done something a little bit better. It does pop off right here. I'm not sure why, to be completely honest. They don't interchange, and I'll show you the other one in a second. It doesn't really say in the directions other than if you can read Japanese, and I am not at that stage yet because I cannot read like 99.999% of the kanji. But it does separate there. Maybe it's just to help it get it on her hand. I'm not sure. So there's the scissor blade, and then we also have the decapitation mode for the scissor blade. So that's really cool, and that's a big accessory. At least it's long, 18 centimeters, or a little over 7 inches. So really cool, and you'll see those in use at the end. So let's look at the figure. Things you need to know that are odd or different about this figure. This torso, the upper torso and the lower torso, are connected by these little suspender type things. They're glued on, so I'm assuming it's built and then those are glued on, so don't try to pull this apart. I'll tell you what kind of joint it has. You could mess these up. They are a soft plastic, so they flex just fine, and they will not impede articulation, so that's a really good design. Other interesting piece about this, the collar part for Senketsu. Is that the name? Wow, I can't remember. I think that's his name. The Kamui God Robe Senketsu. I've watched this in English and in Japanese, and I don't remember the names. That's funny. Anyway, it just pops off. So these are just tabs in there, so don't worry about it breaking. They kind of tuck into that knot part, and then they just tab into the chest. So it shouldn't be a problem. It's not going to break. It's meant to flex around like that so it gets out of the way. So otherwise it's a pretty straightforward Figma. For the head joint, we have the neck that's non-posable, solid neck. Then we have the standard ball peg, ball hinge combo. So ball peg goes into the head. We have the ball hinge right here, and then the peg that goes into the neck. So head articulation should be just fine, as it normally is for the Figmas. Be careful though. I've noticed that it does sometimes feel like the head's not going to go in the joint, or the peg's not going to go in the joint. Just make sure you line it up right and you'll be just fine. So the head articulation is just fine. By the way, the sculpt on the hair is immaculate, really well done, and then they got the red hair painted on there perfectly also. Really like that. As we're going down, I'll look at these details. It had the kind of like the vent things on the back of that front part. They do have red lines in there. Hopefully you can see that. It's really faint and they're really tiny, but they are in there, so that really adds to the detail. And then of course you can see the red details and accents throughout all of that, and all the way down on the legs. Very well painted. For the shoulders, we have the standard Figma shoulders, so it's... Wait a minute. Maybe it's not. Do we get... Oh, I thought maybe there's a butterfly joint. It's just kind of a different, it looks like, connector for the ball peg. So they're not exactly the same, but they're pretty much the same. We have the ball peg here that connects to the torso. Then we have the hinge for the shoulder joint itself, and a bicep swivel where they connect there. We have the single hinged elbow, but we get better than 90 degrees, so I'm pretty happy about that. And then for the wrists, standard Figma wrists, a little ball hinge with the tab. So no problems at all so far with the articulation. For the torso, I have pulled this apart just enough to look inside to tell you guys. It's a ball peg with a ball hinge, so technically you have all the articulation you could want. Just do be careful. Even though these are kind of stretchy and probably not going to break, you could force them, so be careful with that. For the hips, we have a three-way ball peg, one that goes into the torso and then one that goes into each hip, and you can see those right there. So technically you can move the legs around together on that single ball peg that goes in the torso. You can kind of rotate them around a little bit, but most of your swivel, of course, is going to come up here. So we have that ball peg in those sockets, so you can move around on the peg, and then you can move the thigh around on that socket, and we also get a thigh swivel at this cut joint right here. And obviously it's just unrestricted completely, so that thigh swivel works just fine. For the knees, we have the standard hinged Figma knee. Pretty good range of motion, could be better, but I like the fact that it's limited because it allows for the sculpt to be a little bit better. We don't have that humongous knee joint back here, and it looks just fine, so I'm happy with that. And then for the ankles, we have the standard hinge for the Figma ankles. Pretty good range of motion, I would say. And then you can rotate that around to get the ankle rocker if you want it. So really well done figure. I recommend it 100%. It's a little hard to come by at this point since it's been out for a little while, but I imagine it's going to become even harder to come by once her counterpart figure comes out, I think in a couple of months now. So I would pick it up if you're at all inclined to do so. Very nicely done. You can see the peg hole back there. So once Satsuki comes out, this one's going to go up in value, I think, and become harder to find. So make sure, yeah, it is Senketsu. His name is Senketsu, if I remember correctly. I think I do now, for sure. But anyway, get this figure. It's awesome. It's not available at Big Bad Toy Store. It's not really available anywhere. It's sold out everywhere. But I believe Satsuki is still available, so you might want to check that link for Big Bad Toy Store in the description. Pick up Satsuki before she sells out, because she looks awesome too. It's going to be basically the same style figure, just with different design. So go ahead and grab that, guys. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. And also, you might want to subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.